Greetings, adventurers. It's Chris, aka Nos, with New Adventures in Skyrim. I hope everything's going well with you. You're taking care of yourselves and the ones you love. And now I'm going to talk. I have had a medical issue, and I want to talk about it, just what I'm going through. I don't know if this is for you all or more for me. I'm very much about externalizing. And as I'm starting to piece this all together, and I'm finding more desire to externalize, I would love to talk to people, but I can't talk to people who don't want to be talked to. So that is one of the bridges I'm at. And I've I've started to come to. I've started to balance out a little bit. I've slept. Made a video since I've been back, just a very brief what went on. So again, externalized a little bit, chatted with a few people, externalized a little bit, and my the person who actually came and helped me, my roommate, my past, I still say my roommate, he doesn't live with me, but my past roommate came and helped me out, talked to him a little bit. And now, for some context, when I talk about coming to and balance and all that, this is just a real quick synopsis of the why my mindset is here. So the not this Saturday past, the prior Saturday, my youngest daughter came to spend the night, and I popped a pimple on my face right before going to get her. That got infected. I now, again, more context, I normally keep my kids as long as I can. That was the first time I remember calling my ex and saying, "Can I drop her off a little earlier than normal because I needed to go to the ER?" So that Sunday, I dropped her off and called, and I'm not going to go through all that right now, but ended up going to the ER. That night they gave me an antibiotic. One of the side effects was insomnia. Now, between the infection getting worse, the antibiotics working, because from what I understand and have deduced, antibiotics are something you feel as they work. So it's the virus, bacteria, in this case a bacteria, not wanting to die, and so it gets red, irritated, inflamed, and I had temperature. I didn't actually have fevers, ironically. Getting ahead of myself. But the main thing I was getting at is every night I would get uh, hot and cold flashes to the point I would start sweating through my sheets. But I didn't have a fever because I was taking my temperature every 20 minutes just because I couldn't understand it. That was as of Sunday night, and I couldn't sleep. And then I couldn't sleep during the day because I had pain. That continued all the way up until about Friday night. So I had not been sleeping for more than 10 or 20 minutes at a time until from Sunday that Sunday night that I took my first antibiotic when I got home to sometime it was Friday, I think was the first night I got a couple of hours of sleep. So I was exhausted. Not, just from the sleep, the lack of sleep. And then the fact that everything else that was going on, the infection, the antibiotics, they had me on morphine, and all of this happened so fast. When you're in a room, like the windows, blinds were closed half the time, everything became a blur. I didn't know what time was what very often. And now things are starting to slow down, and like I said, I'm getting this balance in my senses about me. So I wanted to first frame that just because I am not very comfortable with how unaware I was, and a lot of that will start to come out when I start to talk about what happened. Um, so as mentioned, last Saturday, my daughter spent the night, popped a pimple, dropped her off, went to the hospital, spent some time there. That was nothing super significant aside from they tried to lance what they called an abscess at the time, and then they sent me home with my antibiotic, and things were getting worse on Monday. And this is what's odd, I can't even recall how or why because I got so messed up not being able to sleep. And all I know is I went back to the emergency room on Monday, Saw them again, and I don't really recall what happened aside from the fact that they sent me home. Again, still on Bactrim, which was the antibiotic that was just crushing me. And I can't even blame the antibiotic. I don't know. Everything was just so odd when it happened. Wednesday, things were getting worse. Well, in fact, that Tuesday, yeah, I stayed home and was trying to get help around the house, and I couldn't get any help because I was starting to feel really bad. And that was so Wednesday. I woke up, and all of these days, for some context, this is what is very annoying. No, I'm not going to get into the VA system. I just, I don't know, not right now. So Wednesday, I went down to the ER, and I. This is when things started to get bad. And I have pictures if anyone is interested. I'm not going to show them. Some of them are, well, a couple of them were very gross. Some of them are just gross, regular gross. Um, but Wednesday is when they started doing what I would call the face mushing, which would be to just basically stand above me and press down into my chin and jaw to express the things inside out and to get the infection out, which it was the first time they started giving me morphine because I it just was too much. I don't I know I never asked for it because I'd never have taken morphine or no, I just they gave me morphine and it worked almost instantly. It was scary. It was very unsettling to me how comfortable I felt almost immediately. And the comfort isn't what worries me. I understand that. It was just the fact that I know what's going on, which is it's shutting off my body's way of saying, "Hey, you are in pain right now." And the drastic difference was just shocking. And I can't even now, like, it feels wrong. And this was the time I was. So after the first shot of morphine, I was still downstairs in the main ER, and I just remember a combination of them talking about COVID patients getting moved upstairs and the oh goodness, the GameStop and debacle, that whole thing. So that was kind of what I remember down there. And then they told me so much stuff that it just was so irrelevant about what was going on, and some of it I just don't remember. They moved me upstairs, and they moved me into the wrong room, and as soon as I got settled down into the bed, they came and said, "No, we have to move. It's the one across there." And um that was all still Wednesday, and I didn't get any sleep that night. Um every night that up until so I had my last antibiotic by my mouth Wednesday morning. So that night I was still having the adverse reaction or whatever. I just I was very much feeling the side effect. So I can't say it's an adverse reaction. It's right there. But I've never been hit. I have sleeping issues. That's the irony. I have anxiety issues, physical issues that stop me from sleeping, but not like that. That was so just so different. Still Wednesday, and I don't know. I just didn't. I don't know. I It was such a mess. I don't remember Thursday. I remember most of my issues started to come about Friday, but let me not get ahead. I'm trying to think if there was anything significant. And again, it's very difficult for me to classify by days because to me it was just one big event. Um, yeah, so let's just kind of at some point they started asking me if I had HIV or anything that, and again, this is all stuff that in that moment I don't think about. They, they're asking me if I have HIV or AIDS or something that would compromise my immune system, and I tell them I have sarcoidosis, and they start asking me a little bit about that, which I'm annoyed at because they should know that already. And I'm on morphine and half delirious with lack of sleep and not eating, and I know that, but I just couldn't mouth it at the time. Maybe I did. Maybe I'm projecting. Maybe I didn't know at the time because again, I don't. A lot of this is coming back. I don't know. So then, at some point, and this had to have been Thursday or Friday morning when I was still feeling it. Just it didn't even have to be morning. I don't know why I'm assuming it's morning because the blinds were closed and it looked darkish, maybe outside. And I remember I'd finally gotten to sleep because I don't know if it's the beds there or what was going on, but what I found is I couldn't sleep. So, again, let me backtrack a little bit. Wednesday, they put an IV in my arm. And from that day on, that IV, from Wednesday to getting released Saturday evening, that IV was in my, well, an IV was in my arm. I'm getting ahead of myself again. And I was constantly getting antibiotics intravenously. So, when I do that, my arm carries a lot of tension and stress because I don't like needles, A, and B, I'm paranoid about the thing falling out. So, for example, they would put me on 2-hour drips at a time of each antibiotic, which would usually run to about 2 hours and 45 minutes technically, but I don't, whatever. I can't sleep when I do that. I won't eat when I do it because all I will do is just lay there until that thing is out, until again, the IV is still in there, but until they can unscrew it because I don't like to get up and move. I've had that thing get tangled before and it's a mess. So I'll just sit there. If it's nighttime, I won't. Even if I could go to sleep, I wouldn't. I wouldn't eat. I'll tell them if they would come to give me the IV, I'd say let me go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, get all that because what I would do would be just sit there and let the IV do it. Well, in all of this, that was another reason my sleep was so messed up. During the nights they'd come in, and that would be another two and a half, 2 hour block where I know I'm not sleeping because I don't want to fall asleep in this arm, move it the wrong way, and have the thing come out like it's happened again. From experience, I don't want to have things that have happened before, and the VA is not very open to saying, "Hey, this has happened before." Well, don't let it happen again is kind of their thing. So on top of that, my arm is just very even now. The veins were inflamed, and I'm having not issues, just I'm having to reacclimate my elbow to not being in just a slightly bent position like it was almost all the time because there was almost always an IV in my friggin' arm. So, well, I'm sorry, there was the IV thing is I don't know if you know how that works. They put a I think they call it a quick connect system. It's very efficient. So they put an IV in and have a couple things they can screw in to put a variety of things in there as opposed to sticking you each time. Thank the gods for that. The old gods and the new, and the divines, even the Daedra. Because man, if I had to get stuck every time with that would have been miserable. I already looked like a drug addict because in my right arm I had my IV, which means every day they came and did blood draws twice a day out of my left arm. So I can legit say, hey, where were you? And I was in Detroit getting shots of morphine and a bunch of needles in my arm, and I wouldn't be lying. Um, with all that, I wake up one morning because there's a knock at the door. Again, I'm getting so far off, but yeah, I didn't know if it was morning. And I look over and there's a guy standing there, and it's a minister or a father or whatever. I kind of feel bad not knowing but again, I wasn't at my best. And it's one of those things that, again, I didn't ask for it. I didn't know if it was scheduled. But in hindsight, I'm like, well, I don't know if they thought I was going to die. And I didn't think I don't know. It, it, that's when it was later when I mentioned Friday started to get my first what night would that have? Yes, okay. Friday night. I remember the doc. He was a really cool guy. I think his name was Thomas. I keep mentioning I would get all night hot, hot. So I had my roommate bring my fan, and that helped a little bit, but it not enough. And well, I guess those nights when it was really bad, it wasn't enough. And I was complaining to them about it, and I feel bad, and I apologize. And they were really nice because I explained to them they took it being hot as the temperature in the room, and I'm trying to explain like no, it could be 60 degrees or 80 degrees in here, and I still will feel like this. The room is irrelevant. We finally broke through with them, and they helped out and did some things. I say he was very accommodating. Maybe this was Thursday. I don't even know because now that I'm thinking about other issues, jeez, maybe I don't even know. But the point was, it was so hot one night, and I got so frustrated when he left. I took all my stuff and laid down on the tile floor, and it was so nice and uncomfortable at the same time. It hurt my back, but I slept for about an hour, maybe 2 hours. That was the first night that or time in all of that I slept because I just got too tired and went on the floor and just like I remember just I couldn't I I wish I could have like made my body like flat against the floor and just absorbed as much of that coolness as I could, and I couldn't get enough. And that, like I say, that was yeah, that was the first. That was when I first finally started to kind of feel better. Then there were little issues like so the IV I had most of those days. We were starting to have issues with because you're not supposed to move them because then they start to come out and start having to be reworked. So that happened. Well, it's hard for me to talk about because I'm squeamish of all things. Like I don't, like I mentioned, I'm not good with needles, but the IV started to come out of my arm and then would start to just leak. And I'm sitting there. I remember it. I'm not even going to say how long it was because I can't honestly even say. It felt like an hour that I'm waiting for this nurse to come. I have to walk out and yell for somebody. It's like my IV is dripping, and they got mad at me because it dripped on the floor. I'm like, not my problem. You know, it's like if you would have answered within an hour. But then I had so what that means is they now have to take out the IV I've had in there and put in another IV below, and it was just it's just par for the course and all that. So with all of this happening, I don't think I ate any real food, not anything consistent, because A, I was it hurt. B, I was so paranoid of like dropping food onto it, on my chin. It's hard to explain, but based on the way they had to bandage it, it was just uncomfortable all the time. So I would just eat like applesauce through a straw or crackers. I would order a piece of bread, like a ham sandwich, and then like take it in half, smash it down, and like eat one piece at a time. And again, and I was not drinking water regularly because I would have to get up or move, or just I didn't have the energy or motivation. Yeah, I didn't have the motivation. It's easy for me now to just get up and drink my water, but it was a mile away. Sometimes it felt. So it was Friday evening, right as the sun was going down. I remember I started to get up and actually walk around. I took a shower that night, and I remember I remember pressing my face against the glass as I looked out. And I was so excited to be able just to know that I would be going home. And it was kind of, now looking back, there were times that I don't know, I guess I wanted to quit, or I just wanted everything to stop. Or I think the term I was using in my head is like, I just want to sleep away from this all, or something like that. It was weird because it was a moment I said it out loud, and that stuck out. So Saturday, I'm getting ready to get discharged, going over all the care instructions, and I'm nervous because A, I still have the infection. They're just now giving me my first antibiotics. Well, not yet. They're had to get them from the pharmacy and bring them up to me before I left, and I didn't take them till I got home because I didn't want to take them and drive because of the adverse reactions I had to the other one. So I was like, I'm going to get home, get settled in. So they sent me home with a bunch of stuff and with little confidence. And keep in mind, they sent me home Saturday not having a full night of sleep, never having checked my weight to see if I lost 10 pounds while I was there or anything. And I thought I was okay to leave. And I still think I was, but had I had my senses about me, I would have asked a lot more questions. But this was one thing that I did ask them. When I leave here today and I go home and have a question and issue about what is on my face right now, and I want to talk to one of you all or someone who knows what's going on so I don't have to call telephone triage to get sent to the ER to have them look at my record while I'm in pain or potentially looking at an infection, and having to be on hold and transferred for a combination of 20 minutes to an hour till someone can get talked to in the right department who can then look at my record and answer some questions. So they say ENT, ear, nose, throat. That's who you call. So keep that in mind for some context. I get home and I start going about my business, and I take my first antibiotic. So that was at 4:30. So I got home at about 4 o'clock, 4 p.m. Ate, put my stuff down, and took my first antibiotic. I don't remember at what point I called my roommate and asked him to come over, but I wasn't feeling well, and I had a big panic attack on the floor while he was here. And we went back and forth between calling 911 or what to do. So the first thing I did was call that number, ENT, or I called the VA and asked to get transferred to them. And they were gone for the weekend, which in hindsight is, I think, why they tried to push me out on Saturday instead of keeping me there until maybe the wound was done. They could see if the antibiotics were working. They could have made me in a better mental state so I could actually listen more directly to their directions. Because, for example, they're saying, this is how you clean your face, and you do this, this, this. And again, in my head, I'm like, okay, but in the future me is thinking like, I can't see anything you're doing right now, stupid. I don't know what you're cleaning my face with, what you just want, what the thing you put on it was. I don't know if you're brushing, going side to side, pushing hard, if you're peeling stuff off. I have no idea. Those are questions again. It's just like and that is when I got home and started having these questions is kind of what led to the panic attack. Because I'm sitting here thinking I have to do all that, and so I'm home on Saturday. I'm supposed to get my daughters on Sunday. In fact, this is all kind of coming together. Part of what led to my panic attack was having to call my ex, and I called her. I just started bawling and crying, trying to explain what happened. And because like I want to see my kids and I miss them, but it's like I'm and at that point, a lot of the stuff where I'm talking about with the priest, the fact that they nonstop pumped IV antibiotics into me with morphine, and I think they thought I was going to die, or things were getting bad, or something wasn't right. There was some kind of complication, and she was saying I'm not saying this is what. I feel as if I'm getting grief in that her response is, well, I'm I guess I can watch them. I'm having the kitchen renovated, and I am. She's said she'll watch them until Wednesday, and so now that I'm home, I have to monitor this and take care of it, keep my anxiety down while having to do 3 loads of laundry I'm looking at that were stacked up from before I went to the ER, like my sweaty sheets that I have to wash that I've sweated through, my pillowcases and stuff. I have to do 3 loads of laundry, which means I have to walk to the basement up and down. I still have to go grocery shopping and vacuum. Then I'm going to have to put all those clothes away. Again, while taking care of my face, changing the bandages, trying to rest. Like, because I know I need rest, and I also know that I need to get this shit done before Wednesday. And I don't know if I'm going to have enough rest today to be able to walk laundry downstairs, or I went grocery shopping today for just some medical stuff, some food. I had no milk because the milk had spoiled while I was in the thing. Um, so I went to get, some food I could eat that wasn't just junk food. That just took a lot out of me, both anxiety and physically. Then, when I get them, I have to make sure I'm abreast of all their school stuff because I have to drive them to school and pick them up. I don't know what I am going to do. So, I got ahead of myself and lost again. That was all, that conversation with my ex was before the panic attack. My roommate's there, we call 911. They come and pay me a visit, so I'm going to have to pay them. I'm not looking forward to that, but that is what it is. For those of you not in America, if you call 911, they will send in emergency services to your house and you get a bill for that. When they got here, they said basically looks like because my temperature dropped down to about 96 and then 96.3, and then it was fluctuating in the mid 96s and then started to rise. So they said it looks like a panic attack. I was like, yeah, I think that's what it is. Or maybe they used anxiety attack again. I don't know. But they offered to take me to the hospital, and they said they will not take me to the VA hospital, which, again, I understand. But that puts me in a position where they're now going to take me to another place that any medical service I get, I have to pay out of pocket for because as a veteran, my medical care is only covered at the VA. And as it was just a panic attack, there's nothing they're really going to do or can do, and it'd probably dissipate, which it did by the time I would have gotten there anyway. We all kind of agreed, my roommate, I, and the two of them, that it's not really worth it. So I signed the waiver that I was just opting to stay, and now I'm just going to get that bill. And I haven't seen my kids in over a week. And I asked my ex if she would, just bring them by. And the response is, in essence, I will drop them off, but not stay. And again, what would be nice would be like, I'll stay for 10 minutes so you can just see the girls and then take them home. Or sit out in the car. I don't even care. But I don't know what I am going to do, but I got a lot to do. But I'm also not supposed to be doing too much. So I know I got to do that too. I have to actively not be too active. So it actually feels really nice having gotten all of that out. I don't know. I hope everything's going well with you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of the ones you love. And be it the next adventure or our next little talk, we'll catch you on the next one. I'm I'm really, really, really eager to find the focus to be able to work on that FizzBand thing because it's funny how I was talking with Boing today in Discord about doing a project. And understandably, out of concern for me, he's like, don't worry about it. We can do it, blah, blah. And I'm like, thank you. But what you also don't realize is at the same time that I'm doing that, it's depriving me of what I want to do. Like the fizz band thing too. I want to do it. So it's not like not doing it is helping me, because that's the thing I want to do. I like to do those things. I don't want to sit and just not feel like I am just sitting and idling and rest until I have to go now do that laundry and unload the dishwasher and start vacuuming and all that stuff. I don't want to just sit work, because that's I could at least sit and focus on that for a little bit, I think. And like I said, I think now that a lot of this is out, a lot of those mental gears will be, knocked loose. They were rusted up with anxiety and the need and desire for me to externalize. So I'm gonna now go play this back, see how bad I sound, and see how many of the pauses I need to edit out. So I hope, again, everything is going well with you. Take care of yourselves, take care of the ones you love, and just remember, the days are packed and full of adventures. The days are just packed and full of adventures. Cheers.